Part 2, The Heart of the Blues. The blues was the prefatory nexus in communicating genre, prompting our musical inauguration for African Americans, but for all seeking and understanding in its allure and diversity in all men. It can be raspy and gruff, emulating the sounds of the controller's voice echoing through the vessels, recapturing the memories of days of pain and agony, yet, mostly, depicting a strained relationship between a man and a woman from a romantic interlude, lovers' quarrel, or locked in deep seductive passion. This is the blues in all its glory, by design or through tangible events, prolonging this voyage through humiliation and admiration for enabling the survival of the fittest in this journey of rapaciousness and greed. The blues is representative of the disregard and disdain the American society has maintained throughout the entire existence of African Americans being assimilated into this society with each century, after scores and decades bearing the indignities of the previous periods with their own turmoil, instabilities and transgressions lingering and protracted for a new era or form of racism and intolerance. The blues is another way of depicting our earlier lives under slavery. These musical expressions are the origins of Black American lives, evolving from those days of hopelessness and despair, with continued advancements enhancing an image of equal and parallel behavior for all the masses. There have not been any other sounds matching creative genes and perceptions of their environment, releasing through the endless boundaries of the blues. Being a slave was a loss of identity, becoming what someone else wanted, not only taking away your liberties but becoming a slave to others' thoughts, beliefs and conceptions, losing your independence, sovereignty and dominion. The blues has been such a force in its prevailing predominance of the music genre. It has been such a force and inspiration in its injection of emotions. It was adopted and embraced by the Most High in spiritual Christian ceremonies of churches. Before taking this specific path, the realization of the controversial matter must be discussed. Most Africans brought with them religious practices of voodoo and syncretism, combining the beliefs and practices of other beliefs. Some of the traditional religious beliefs were those of the Akan of Ghana, the Yoruba of Nigeria, the Bono of Ghana and the Ivory Coast, the Serer of Senegal and the Vodun of Benin, Togo and Ghana. Other practices of the Louisiana voodoo, Haitian voodoo, Cuban voodoo and Dominican voodoo were among the religion's practices of the newly arrived African slaves. It took decades and scores before African Americans were diverse and developed a consciousness of Christianity. I can only presume this was God's plan of introducing the African slaves to Christianity. Some might say this was a high cost for Christianity and there could have been a better way. God uses the harshness, cruelty and severity of slavery for the resulting belief in Christianity. The intoxication rhythm became a lexicon in the style, voice and harmony found in all sectors of mainly the Baptist Church. You must remember, the church is an adaptation of activities of emotional experiences of its people, and people write songs for purposes of worship, advocating the music heard on the streets getting a similar experience using the musical expressions. There is nothing greater than having a Christian relationship with God, being inspired by word with music serving as a supplementary support in helping stimulating the experience and joyful pleasures. However, there were many people trying a disassociation with the music, but it was never quite provided a foundation of acceptability, using this principle guiding the worship rules of engagement through the music of the blues. It was already invigorating and energizing. Combining the blues with the Word of God was beyond uplifting. It was empowering and galvanizing. The message from ministers or a song, by itself, strengthened the congregation into a higher or increased experience in the worship. I can't seem to leave this specific topic without asking the question, why were we, the sacrificial lambs, in this exploitation or human sacrifice for America and Europe? The transatlantic slave trade was a very profitable business. There were over 15 million slaves stolen from African countries beginning in the 1500s through the near end of the 19th century. The profits of this industry can still be seen throughout London and the entire United States of America. I guess not being a black man, this experience can be easily dismissed and become old and unimportant to most white American, but for me, its wounds are still open as the lives of every black man, woman, and child is still feeling the echoes of slavery in their lives today. But why did God allow such a debauchery, dissolution, and decadence to even take place? It played such a great role in world history in his flavor of disenchantment, suffering, misery, and torment. What was the purpose of this distress to be unveiled on an ethnicity? Could not the world have maintained its path without the intolerance of a people proclaimed on other ethnicities? Many African nations are still feeling the loss of its best people not being able to sustain themselves without proper leadership through genocide, civil war, and economic adversities, living without water, electricity, and a minimum allocation of food. Those in powers knows the ramifications that has been stowed upon us, but we were only property in those days, and our blood is washed away by the laws of the land. What was the benefit in the sacrifice of an entire ethnicity in losing their identity, confidence, conviction, beliefs, freedom, and values by all the grief and anguish during these centuries of sorrow? Maybe we were only pawns in the lives of others in displaying how to almost destroy a race in order in continuing financial gains at the expense of another party. But these are the fundamentals of capitalism, taking advantage of your opponent whenever he presents a challenge. However, these are not financial quests being pursued, but the humiliation of another ethnicity. As part of your trophy room or your plantation of horrors, doing whatever in keeping your property in order, with subjects having no legal rights or authority in resisting your punishment. It only seems like there would be some avenue of revenge or reprisal in our future. Nevertheless, too many obstacles to conquer and overturn before we reach that point of retaliation and retribution. I don't ever believe there will ever be economic compensation for those years of servitude or bondage, as those now making those decisions, as these are the great-grandsons and daughters whose financial empire was built on the backs of slaves, and their efforts were in the name of property, not party to the future monetary outlays predicated on company performance. Yet, for those who truly gave their life in the face of brutality, cruelty, and inhumane treatment, we can only salute their call, knowing their home is secured. I don't know why I have this calling is upon me in continuing this odyssey of discovery by continued writing on this specific topic of slavery, which is an exhaustive subject thoroughly covered, yet there always seems to be another twist waiting to be revealed, extrapolating another unfounded truth. Whatever the subject, there is another episode needing to be released, continuing influencing and inducing variables into my writing regarding the cruelty of slavery. I guess by depleting myself of this content before continuing with another topic. Going without recognition for so many decades, but it was another challenge of being black at the crossroads of prosperity, making a left turn into continued path of darkness and desolation, emerging with a new realization of regrets. In answering my own question, God allowed this to happen, providing an opportunity for life, Eve for an entire ethnicity. God has provided Christianity as the only guarantee entry into heaven. Our belief in the sacrifice of Jesus is the key for redemption. Based upon this scenario, it is justifiable for every struggle and sacrifice in our path. Christianity can be defined as God's search for man, and religion is defined as man searching for a God. Man will be found unless his desire is to remain unchartered.